Whoa, would you look at that, my peeps? In person this time. It's like the pandemic is over or
Touch
something.
to touch, man.
What's up, everybody? This is Mark McDuffie. I am the host of the Live, Love, Live podcast, and I'm joined in person by my co-host and head coach here, Sean. What's up, Sean?
Everybody, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Good to see you in person.
I know, right? It's not long time no see. Long time
I
no
guess
see.
so, right? Yeah.
But yeah, my peeps. So it is kind of cool that we're both in the studio today for today's episode because what we're going over today is really at the heart of Aion Training, and that is what's really at the heart of Aion Training, which is the idea of just show up, right? I mean, we have the big red sign, we say it all the time, we yell it at you all started to say it. So today we really wanted to go into, the background of like what is just show up, what it means to each of us personally, and then how we've kind of seen that, come about in the lives of our members. So I'll tell a little story of just the background of it. I don't actually know if have I told you like how just show up came about?
I think briefly, but this would be cool to hear the origin story of it.
Okay. So when I first started, this is like one of the first ladies that I ever trained as a personal trainer. And I was working at this other gym, and she was telling me the story of starting up. And she was like, the first time I came in, like, I walked to the door and I left again. I walked to the door and I left again. I was scared as hell. And the guy just goes, and she was so worried about like what people would think about her, how she would show up, if she was fit in. And the guy, Joseph, my old boss, he was like, you just need to show up. And then she was like, that just stuck with me for some reason.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't expect that at all, but it stuck with her. Then stuck with me, this whole idea of like, we just need to show up and like let the rest of it take care of itself.
Yeah.
It resonated deeply so much that now it's like our main thing here, so that's what I'm saying, so I guess what I want to do today, like I said, is just kind of, now the lore of it all. Just kind of hear like for you as someone who's been with us for almost 2 years now, like what just show up is kind of meant to you personally in your own life. I'll go as well, and then we kind of talk about what we've seen in our members too.
I think starting with me, it's so important. It's been such an important tenet in kind of my journey through weight loss, through lifting, through kind of getting to, arguably kind of the life that I always kind of wanted for myself, right?
Yeah.
And I think, even just looking at from a really small view, like this week was a really good example. Like I had a big weekend in the mountains, right? And a big thing for me with consistency is the idea of just like sitting in the seat, getting back in the saddle as soon as you can, right? Yeah. And so like this week I was so tired, so smoked. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to kill myself. I'm just going to show up and do the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not going to lift today. I'm just going to go ride my bike for, 10 miles or whatever that looks like, we had a hike last night, and it was like so important for me to get back on trail. Usually I, carry weight, make it really intense. And last night I was like, no, I'm just going to carry water in my backpack today.
Yeah.
But I think the idea and the intention, again, of just showing up and doing the thing and then reaping the reward from that is so important. Like last night was a great example. Went up on this hike, and on the way up, flowers are starting to bloom in LA, which is so nice. And I got to see all these beautiful sunflowers and the sunset. And if I had just kind of played into it's not going to be what I want it to be, so why even do it? I would have missed all of that amazing stuff,
Yeah.
So I think just getting rid of expectation and just doing things that you like and enjoy on the days when you don't really feel like you might get the most out of it is such an important thing that I've really learned and honed in my own process.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like really good things in there. I think the first one, like you said, of like it's so important for me just to get back to doing those things. And I think for a lot of peeps, it's like it's the task itself, like the workout never gets harder.
Yeah.
Like by itself.
Yeah.
But every day you miss, it's almost like, oh my gosh, like can I do this thing? And the weight of that gets harder. So I think it's cool. Like the just show up has kind of become like, hey, I'm gonna show up and do what I can so that the weight never kind of gets that heavy, and that other part too of doing the things you like, because every goal you have, it's kind of tied to something that you wish you had in your life.
Yeah.
And so that means that like you have to enjoy it to some degree. And that means that, hey, like you probably still had a lot of fun on that hike, even though it wasn't.
It was better.
Yeah.
I wasn't suffering as much. I was like, this is incredible. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, man. I guess for me, like just show up kind of means it kind of like is a pressure relief valve for me, where there's a lot of like perfectionism and things like that, and just show up kind of allows me to live a more binary life, which is very helpful for me of just, did I do it or did I not? I don't care about anything in between those things. Did I do it? Did I not? Did I show up for the thing? Did I not? And as long as I showed up, like I've had workouts in this last month where I'm just like, this is half as strong as I usually feel, and this feels like the whole fucking world is it's on my back right now, And but then I leave and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I did that, So for me, it kind of has taken a form like both with fitness and just in every piece of my life of, man, I'm nervous to go to this, doctor's appointment or something. I'm nervous to have this conversation with, one of my like mentors. Yeah. It's like, all right, like, fuck it, I'm nervous, but I'm just gonna show up. Yeah. And if it goes terribly, like at least I can say like I showed up for the thing, and that's what I need to kind of feel good about myself in that day. So so it's been a really powerful thing for me in my life as well, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that translates so well because what I've seen with members, to your second point, it's just how impactful stringing together days can be in living the life that you really want to be in. So really good example. We keep harping on it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's so incredible. We have this group, this 8 a.m. group of these incredible women that we've been working with for coming up on a year now, which is crazy to think, right? For a lot of them, yeah. And when they started, it was like the normal stuff. That's really normal to feel, like fear of heavy weights, fear of like I'm never going to be the person that does this. And let me just tell you, there was no like Mike's magic water bottle sauce from Looney Tunes. It was just like they showed up consistently, never missed a day, did 3 days a week, punched the clock, showed up, did the thing. And all of a sudden, on Monday, we were having this fun moment where it's like one of our members was putting up 155 pounds on a barbell glute bridge and taking a video to show her kids because her kids didn't believe her. They were like, oh, yeah, Mom, 25 pounds was probably really hard today. And like, again, there's nothing special in that. But I think that's what makes it so special is that they didn't miss a day. They just showed up. Yeah. Some days it was great. Some days they lifted heavy. Some days they were like, I'm still scared and I'm not going to lift anything over 20 pounds. Yeah. But the result is the same.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And we talked in a previous podcast about like, your idea of like pushing the snowball. Yeah. It's like, hey, the goal may be like, I want to push this snowball and get 10 inches of snow on it. That's a lot of fucking snow. Yeah. 10 centimeters of snow on it. There you go. And like today, hey, I only got the strength for 3, but my snowball is still bigger. Yeah. And for the person you're talking about, like she came in, she was like, I've never really lifted before in my life. Like 10 pounds was like, oh man, are you sure you want me to do the 10 pounds today? And now she's like getting videos doing 155. I know. And this is from, let me pop this. And Loom like can edit all this stuff out too. But yeah, so it is cool to see like all she did was keep showing up. Yeah. And it just kind of happened,
And I think to the inverse of that too, like think of the snowball building. I think a really good point that you made is it goes the other way too, right? Yeah. Like the days that it's like, well, I'm not going to get what I want, so I might as well not do it. Those build too. Like habits build both ways. Yeah. In a really big way. And that's why, at least for me, what I've seen in clients and for myself is like, if you just keep chipping away at adding little things every day, it builds to a really big result. And that I made a thing with myself earlier. It's like, I'm never going to go 2 days without doing something physical. Yeah. It can be a walk. It can be walking up and down my stairs. But I just don't want to get to the point where I start to get that reverse roll, Yeah. Because again, like object in motion stays in motion. Object rest stays in rest. Exactly. And I think that's just such a powerful moment for a lot of our clients where they're like, I don't have to be this huge beast and lift 1,000,000 pounds. I just have to show up to the gym. Doesn't matter if I'm 15, 20, 30 minutes late. Doesn't matter if I get 5 minutes at the end of the day and it's just stretching. Yeah. It's still good movement and it's still a job well done.
And I will say, like, for a lot of our members, like, some of their favorite workouts or like some of like the moments that they'll talk about the most is when like traffic hit and they slept like shit and their body hurts and their kids are being brats. Yeah. And they are like 20 minutes late and they walk in and then they have this great workout. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, like how many times in the past where you've said it's not perfect? Yep. So I think that is like such a big thing because for the people we work with, even for ourselves, the day gets crazy as hell some days. Totally. And it's really hard to like say, all right, I'm going to do this thing for me when I have the tug of like all this other stuff. So I think it is it's also that of like, hey, like the only goal is for me to hit that door and open it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Um,
Walk in, walk out. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully walk out.
Everybody's walked out so far.
Yeah, we're good on that.
But yeah, I think what I've seen for the members too is just I really do love this idea, because I think a lot of people are so afraid of fitness, especially the people we get. Like we get a lot of members that have they've either this is their first time in decades or they've never been to a gym before. Like the amount of people that work out here that when they started they say I hate the gym, and now they're like hitting years and everything.
I love the gym. Yeah.
But I think with them, like it allows them to take care of themselves in like a way that like pressure release for them too, of just like, I don't have to go in here and like deal with this boot campy guy that's gonna yell at me like, hey, if my body just doesn't have it today, I'm not gonna get shamed like, oh, why did you do 30 pounds today? You're only doing 15. Like people are genuinely just happy that I'm showing up and I'm taking care of myself, and that allows me to also be happy for showing up and taking care of myself. And I do hope that everyone listening to this and like everyone that is here, you probably hear it 1,000 times. Big red sign, big red sign.
Yeah.
But like, that lady at the 8 a.m., she never did any crazy workout. She never took any like extreme muscle builder protein supplements or whatever.
No steroids.
Yeah, no roids for
natural.
Yeah, exactly. Like all she did was over the course of about the last year is 2-3 days a week. She walked through the door, and some days you've seen it, like she's like, I'm gonna do what I can.
Yeah.
And every day she just gave herself the chance and the opportunity to just do what she could. Yeah. And now like those results come from that. So if you're worried, like, am I doing enough? Am I doing this? Blah, 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 blah. Like if you are showing up, you're doing it. Yep. And just take that in, Yeah, I mean that was my final little point in there. Anything else you have to add to that?
That hits it perfectly. I think that again, it's like big results happen from consistency, and like doesn't need to be consistently hard.
Yeah.
you can win your workouts and enjoy them, and just leave feeling better, not feeling sore and beat up and having these sweat sessions and intensity. Like if again the goal is lifelong strong and not just to look cut for bikini season for 1 year, then you've got to be strategic with how you show up for yourself and how you continue to create consistency in your workout routine and movement. And when you take the expectation off of it, it becomes so freeing, and then it becomes fun. It's just like, why wouldn't I show up to a gym where I, have coaches that I enjoy talking with and I love the people I work with? Like all of a sudden the barrier to entry just vanishes.
Yeah, man. I think I do want to touch on that because that's such a good point. Like just show up doesn't mean show up and die.
No.
Show up and get your butt kicked. It means like, because if you do that, like we've had members in the past where they're so hard on themselves, or they have to like make every workout tough as hell, and they just burn out. And that's a really sad moment. So I'm glad you put that in there too. But my peeps. Well, that's all for today on everything. I hope that you have learned to embrace the methodology of the big red sign out there.
JSU.
And exactly. JSU. So I hope you all have a great weekend. If you're already a member with us, we will see your beautiful face very, 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 very soon. If you're not and you are interested in joining us, that you can click the link in the bio and you can try us out, see if we'd be a good fit for a week. And then we'll hope to see you embracing that big red sign soon too. So
beautiful.
Take care. All right.